Welcome to F&I Today. I'm your host, Becky Chernick. Today we're going to discuss when the customer says no and how to overcome the dreaded, I want to stick to the base payment objection. The first thing you have to determine when asking for this business, does a no really mean a no? And in many cases, a no can often mean, tell me more. So here's the scenario. You just presented your menu to your customer, offering the customer between 6 or 7 products, and you may be a great car salesperson, but you're likely not a mind reader. And for all you know, the customer could be interested in 1 or more of the products. But since they feel it's easier to decline, they simply say, no thanks. So in this case, it's clear that a no may not mean no. One of the biggest mistakes you can do at this juncture is to be so eager to sell a service contract that you jump in and attempt to sell a product that doesn't bring the customer value. And when you do this, you will run the risk of turning off the customer and making them back off completely. Invariably, their guard goes up, and getting a product sale at this point is going to be an uphill battle. So you can try every trick in the book, including telling them it only costs you $30 per month. That's less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day. But regardless of how logical that may sound, it won't work if the customer already has their eyes on another product you're not offering them. The most effective method of selling products to a customer is to determine which products you presented have the most value to the customer. It's as simple as that. Get the customer to tell you how to sell them. This is critically important. Listening to the customer is key to selling those products. Only after you've listened and heard all their objections can you adequately address their concerns by asking questions like, is there a reason you decided against it? Or making statements like, well, many of my customers have often taken advantage of 1 or 2 of the products. To achieve success here, you have to restrain yourself from jumping in. Don't say another word. Listen to what the customer tells you. Refrain from being robotic in your efforts. Sure, word tracks are important, but the customer wants to know that they're dealing with a real human being. So if you ask the right questions, you'll get the response you're looking for. If the customer tells you outright they need 1 or 2 of the products, but not all, it's pretty cut and dry and simple. Just ask them what products they have interest in that will bring the most value. Sell to their needs, not yours. And always tell them that their decision is a good one. Don't mention another product they didn't choose. Simply ask what payment suits them the best, 66 months, 72 months, and always give the customer an option. So let's assume that the customer tells you they can't afford another cent. Keep in mind, they may have their eye on another product, but aren't telling you at this point. Again, trying to get that customer to tell you how to sell them will be far better than having to pick the product out for the customer. This is only done as a last-ditch effort. So in this scenario, your next question should be, well, if cost wasn't an issue, looking at all the products that we've gone over, which one of them would be most value to you? Then let them answer. More often than not, this will serve to open up the door to a customer telling you what products they'd be willing to consider. As always, patience is a virtue. So what if the customer tells you they see value in all the products you've offered but can't afford it? This is not something that happens all the time, but it will happen. In this scenario, the last thing you want to do is to start cutting profit out of the deal, trying to sell all your products. Remember, hogs get slaughtered and pigs get fat. Be a pig. Tell them that you agree. Then ask them if they could afford just 1 or 2 of the products out of the bunch. Which one would they see the most value in? Now, once they respond, here's your opportunity to make the sale. Take the initiative and show them that what they want is entirely affordable in ways they haven't even occurred to them yet. Give them the option to extend the payment if they want to 66 or 72 months. And at this point, you can pull out those big guns and compare monthly cost to the cost of a cup of coffee per day. If they tell you they're good with it, you're golden. If they tell you the cost is still too much for them to afford, here's where those word tracks you've studied will come in handy. I happen to like the cost solution. It fits, it's easy. Remember, whatever tracks you use, visuals are key. If you want to bore the tears out of your customers, don't use visuals. Just keep talking and watch them zone out on you. I want to show the customer that not taking advantage of my service contract is going to cost them more in the long run. If they think $30 to $40 per month is tough on their budget, imagine what it would be like if they got hit with this expensive repair of $1,500 or greater. So wouldn't it be better to take advantage of the service contract now rather than have this expense all at one time? Once I've laid that on them, I'll ask them again, what term is best for you, 66 months or 72 months? So let's consider the final scenario. The customer tells you they're not interested, period. This is where the interview comes in handy. So if you don't know much about the customer, it's going to cost you. The interview helps you in so many ways. So I get it, I understand, it's hard to get out to the floor to meet the customer in advance, but when you do, and every time you do, I'm willing to bet that on average, you'll raise your PVR by $200 more per car. Understanding the customer's driving habits, getting this information from their very lips is golden. And it does have this most incredible, powerful effect of lowering their guard. And when I perform these interviews with a customer, I find it so easy to tell the customer, well, based on what you told me earlier, I think this product would absolutely suit your needs. Using the information about the customer's driving habits that you've already been able to and are privy to can help you pick a product the customer would see the greatest value in. The golden rule here is that the product must be valuable to the customer and not your paycheck. If you don't sell them what they want, you're going to lose out. Be prepared to show the customer payment options with and without the added product. This will make it so much easier for them to see, in plain terms, the cost benefit involved. As always, with any products that the customer chooses not to buy, that declination form is a must. If your dealership doesn't make it mandatory to have a declination form to show the customers the products purchased and the products declined, it's important that you get on this ASAP. This declination form or waiver will be used for many reasons. One important reason, it's all about compliance. All dealerships should keep a paper trail that demonstrates that the customer was made aware of the base payment, terms, and APR prior to the products being presented. The waiver is used to confirm that the customer understands the new payment and terms and products purchased, as well as the products declined. Frequently, when asking them to sign the declination form, I like to point out to the customer that the products that they've declined may not be available after delivery. This is your opportunity to make a final effort to sell the customer on the value-added products they may want to consider before taking delivery of the vehicle. And remember, don't be too pushy about it. Simply point this out, and doing so will speak volumes on your behalf. Now, this is a planned word track that requires time and study to put to use. Of course, you have to own it and understand it to make it all work for you. It won't work if you don't put to action, to be religious about it. It will take practice and lots of it. To help you improve, role play, videotape yourself, and watch yourself perform, critique yourself. There are some trainers who say, tracks don't work. Here again, I'm not saying you are a robot. I want you to be personable, real, genuine, but it's also important to know where you're going at all times to avoid getting sucked down the rabbit hole. So every time you get off track, it's going to cost you. You begin to panic, and in doing so, you cut profit from one product to the other. Don't do it. The more consistent that you are, the better. Long before menu sales were a big thing, I was always consistent, presenting options to all my customers 100% of the time. Through rigorous practice, I perfected my techniques, and quite frankly, that's why I was so successful in F&I then, and I still am now. It's all about being personable and having a plan, and being consistent just flat out works. Well, thank you for joining me on F&I Today. Be sure to come back next week right here on the CBT Automotive Network for our next edition of F&I Today. Contact me regarding my consulting services. My specialty is helping auto dealers achieve high levels of performance and profit by improving internal processes that begin the moment the customer touches down on the dealership website and end in finalizing in-person transactions in F&I. My techniques are proven and make for a serious impact in your overall performance. So let's talk about my online free analysis with no obligation. What you will learn will save you millions of dollars in lost revenue. My in-dealership training is guaranteed or your money back if not completely satisfied. Contact me today to learn more.
F&I Today, brought to you by eLend Solutions.